Hi, my name's Mila, and I've got a huge problem. My daughter Giselle is the light of my life, but the feeling isn't mutual anymore. Since Giselle was just a little baby, I've done absolutely everything I can to make her life incredible. I've fed her, clothed her, and been a constant source of support and love. But recently, Giselle feels like a stranger to me. She's lashing out, and she's doing all she can to embarrass me, all because of her greed. I don't like to talk negatively about my daughter, but something sparked inside of her. Something terrible. A few weeks ago, I took Giselle back to school shopping. She was starting at a new school and really wanted to make a good impression. I don't want to say that we're poor, but we don't have money to spend on frivolous things. I'm a single mom, and ensuring that Giselle has a college fund and a place to sleep is the most important thing to me. I work 2 jobs to ensure that Giselle is cared for, and I feel like she doesn't even notice how hard I'm working. Giselle wanted to go into a trendy, expensive store, and I told her we should try a cheaper alternative. That's when she lost it on me. She asked if I cared at all about her having nice things. She asked why we couldn't afford stuff like the other kids. It was a whole mess. People were looking at us, watching my daughter yell at me for not taking care of her, and it honestly broke my heart. She'd never acted like this before. She'd never cared about what she wore, how she looked, and here she was freaking out on me. Once school started, Giselle would ask for lunch money before leaving the house. I would happily oblige, and then she'd go off to school with a smile. But as the days passed, she began asking for more and more. $5 became $10, $10 became $20. One day, I had enough, and I rejected her. I gave her a few dollars, but she threw them on the ground and raged and stormed out of the door. That isn't the daughter I raised. Materialistic, selfish. What was going on in her head? I felt like Giselle was growing further and further away from me. So I took her out to get lunch and maybe try to pick up some affordable stuff for school again. I started talking to her about money, about how important her college fund was compared to these expensive clothes, and she freaked out. She told me I wasn't providing for her. She told me that she didn't have anything she needed to be successful. She even said if she had 2 parents, if I had saved my marriage with her father, maybe she'd have everything. Those words stung. The eyes from the people around us, looking at me like I was a failure, like I was neglecting my daughter. Those stung more. Giselle had a malicious little smirk on her face, and I'm ashamed to say in that moment, I couldn't even believe she was my daughter. So I'm not proud, but I yelled back. I told her she was ungrateful. She was being a snob and had no idea what it was like to work hard, that I didn't deserve this ridicule. Everyone around whispered and glared. I'd never felt that embarrassed in my life. Giselle stormed off to the car with tears in her eyes. The next day, I got a call from the school. Giselle hadn't shown up to class. Where was she? Where could she have gone? My head was spinning. Had I driven my daughter off? She said cruel things, but I was supposed to be the bigger person. I drove around town, desperate to find her. I checked the parks, friends' houses, everywhere. I couldn't find her car. I couldn't find her, until I pulled up to the mall. Giselle's car sat out front. My daughter had skipped school to shop? I was worried she got kidnapped or ran away, and she was just going on a shopping trip with her lunch money? Enraged, I stormed in the doors. I spotted her across the mall in that trendy store. I'm ashamed, but in that moment, I wanted to embarrass her. I wanted her to feel bad. I wanted her to feel as terrible as I had. And then I saw her body language and who she was with. 2 glamorous-looking girls stood opposite of her, and they were laughing. My daughter looked so uncomfortable, so small. I crept forward to listen. The girls were making fun of Giselle's clothes, making fun of her for being poor, telling her if she wanted to hang out with them, she had to look the part. Giselle slipped out her lunch money and went to the counter, a broken look on her face. My daughter didn't think badly of me, of what I provided. She felt bad about herself. She was too embarrassed to say anything to me, to have me interfere. She didn't want me to know she was being bullied. She met my eye. and I shook my head. "It's okay. This isn't you," I mouthed to her. Giselle set the clothes down. She turned to Molly and Maddie, a look of determination on her face. "I don't want to wear these clothes. My clothes are fine. Why would I spend money just to look like everyone else?" The girls were stunned, like no one had ever told them that before. Giselle glanced to me for reassurance, and I nodded. The girls lashed out at her, calling her a loser, saying they couldn't be her friend anymore. And Giselle walked away. I met her by the car, and she apologized. She was lonely at school and didn't know how else to make friends. She was embarrassed, angry, and her mean words towards me aren't excusable, but they were based on her desperation to escape the ridicule she was getting. Giselle knows now she has to tell me what's going on, that she can tell me the truth and I'll help her through anything. We still bicker, and we don't have everything, but I'm happy to say we've figured out how to communicate.